So this is part 2 of a hamstring and back session with Neale Cranwell. I want to say a big thank you to my sponsor Revolution Gymwear for organising the trip to Krunch Gym. The image is shorter because the cameraman turned the camera on the side, so I can't do anything about that now. So this is part 2, this is the back session with Neale Cranwell. If you haven't already seen it, check out the first video. I'll put the link in the description down below.
The first back exercise after hamstrings is like a one-arm row. Typically you do it with a dumbbell, but because I train back more frequently in the week, I would alternate it with a barbell row, again with one arm. Because we're coming into like contest prep here, I think it's a good idea to put a few supersets in and things like that. So you can change the angle on here to make one set 2. So if we aim for 10 reps and the first set being like a dumbbell row, and then after we've done 10 with one arm, pivot around them from the outside of the handle, we use different access points to work your back for another 10. So you're pulling slightly outwards this way. So 10 and 10, and then swap arms. So you've got and pulling back with your elbow, and that further part needs to get back. So your body does this with you. Once you start low now, so you end up using the body momentum. Just getting the balance. You have to overload. Now, if you don't overload to stay light, you're never going to drive these back.
then so from there we went on to back, and typically I would do a dumbbell row, but today we done a barbell, one-arm barbell row, and we done it as a superset. So the barbell row I think is great if you haven't got heavy enough dumbbells in your gym, because a dumbbell row you can get some serious weight going with them. But with a barbell, because you're not fixated on the bench or on a fixed point, and you're having to pivot yourself against your own body weight, the weight's a lot less than you would use in the dumbbell. I think it's a lot more strict, and also in what we've done today, it allows us to come around and use the bar from a different angle.
Yeah.
So we're working.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Cheers. So we can come around it from a different angle, and then we're working our lats from the upper part of our lats right down to the lower insertion point, and I think you really feel that when you come round to the side, how it hits your lower lats. And that's a tiring exercise, and I think supersets are good for back because you get more volume into, especially when you're coming into prepping for shows and stuff, and you're tired and you're not going to beat your PBs and stuff. It's good to still feel like you've had a really good workout without like feeling like you've come and you've failed, like hit your maximum all the time. And then from there we used like an isolating dumbbell row on against an incline bench. So that's aimed to keep the focus on your lower lats, because we're pulling it low into our hips and really curving your body off the bench to really engage. And like the coaching point really with back training is to not grip the bar with your hands, because when you grip with your hands, your forearms take the brunt of the work. And if you've ever coached people, they'll often say that they can't even feel it in their back, but their forearms are pumped. And it's because as they get tired, naturally you squeeze harder, and you're squeezing the bar as opposed to squeezing your back. So you can take your thumb round the bar, you tend to take that option away. And think about moving the bar back with your elbows as opposed to pulling with your hands. And that's if you can get that mind muscle connection where you're pulling back with your elbow, you can probably take yourself back an extra inch or two to where you would normally, because you'd normally think pull with your hand to here, but if you're thinking elbow, you're going to squeeze that extra inch or so. And the contraction then is much more intense, and you're having to try and really think, because you can't see in the mirror what you're doing, about feeling it in your back. And I've learned over the years that lifting silly heavy weights on back where you can't get that final contraction really does limit your muscular growth. Because if you're trying to build a physique, you need to work the muscle in its fullest range.
It's like you wouldn't go on a bench and do chest, you wouldn't just do little reps, would you? You need a bit more range of motion.
And I think that's important, but I think that the flip side of it, not to get caught up with doing some of this intensifying ways where you're putting more lactic acid burning sets into it, and you're not still chasing increasing the weight. I think that the tried and tested way of muscle growth is increasing weight. It's just still keeping the form and keeping the full range of motion. But when you can increase the weight, do so. Don't think, okay, we don't need to increase the weight. We can just make the set harder by doing drops or, rest pauses or whatever. I think you still need to try and increase what your body's used to doing, whether it's an extra bit of weight or an extra rep or two. And that's the foundation that I think most big backs were built on.
So it's heavy weight, perfect form.
If you
about losing your form, lift as heavy as you can.
Exactly, and I think that's where a training partner's good, because they can see where you're starting to sway, where you perhaps are trying to, your ego's telling you otherwise, and then backing it down, and maybe if you have to, and letting your ego, take a hit on the chin, as long as you're feeling it more in the muscle, until you can get that weight back up with good form, which will come in time. And then we finished the day with rack pulls. So we've worked our hamstrings anyway. And there's a tie in between back and hamstring work anyway. So today's workout is about your posterior chain, but our hamstrings were stretched a lot in the dumbbell, the one arm dumbbell stiff leg, and we already done a stretch on the hack squat. So using the rack allowed us to put more back work into the move. But with that, I'm looking at the last exercise, where you're feeling fairly tired by this stage, is to find the last power sort of fibres within you. So you really drive up from a dead stop, bring the bar down controlled and rest, drive up, and you'll find that as the sets go on, your drive becomes less powerful. And that's really the plan. And then 2 or 3 days I'd repeat that workout, but I might add less volume to, say, the hamstring and more to the back, and vice versa, depending on what day it is on the schedule.
How would you prep for competition?
So the way I prep now is, I'm not a huge supplement user, but I would use supplements pre, post and intra training, and they would be my main sort of supplements, because I think your training period in the gym is the time you're trying to grow muscle, retain muscle, certainly not lose muscle. So using like a carbohydrate powder and some amino acids and stuff is a great thing to do through that period of time. I'm fortunate enough to be sponsored by Muscle Finesse, and I've been with them forever, and them guys always supply all the ranges and brands, so I can choose which ones I use there. But I tend to use like Glycofuse from Gaspari intra training with NXT do a product called Amino Amino Energy. So I put them two together in the workout, and that gives you some energy, stops your muscle breaking down, and I think that's the important time to supplement. I don't think though that when you're dieting or prepping for a show, you should rely on protein powders. I think that you should consume food, and also you're going to limit your calories. So why would you limit eating something where you're getting hungrier by drinking away your meal?
Away calories,
So like protein powders and stuff, I tend to move over to real foods, such as chicken, white fish, some lean red meat, that kind of thing. And today in this day and age, everything's so easy. Like when I started out years ago, you used to have to go to Costco, wherever, and buy in bulk to make it, and cook for a whole day on a Sunday and all that business. Whereas now I use a company called Prep Perfect, and they supply to me twice a week. You give them exactly your macros, how many meals you want, and they just send it down fresh, fridged for you, and it comes to you wherever you want. You put it in your fridge, and then you've got your meals. They're listed out, meal 1 to, I have 7 meals a day, so every day I know there's meal 1. I haven't got to think about it. There's meal 2.
It's just ready.
You can either eat them cold or microwave them, and you've got no excuse to break your diet when you've got that. It's not like I was rushed for time, the kids here, there, or whatever. I couldn't get a chance to cook my meals. I forgot to take something with me. Because you can be in the biggest rush possible and just grab something out of the fridge and throw it in, in your cool bag, and you're gone. So like today, I think the market's opened up, with these food companies now, which has made life loads more easy for people to prep. And I think that's really the key to being in shape, is eating the right food, and that old saying, you can't out-exercise a bad diet. I think that stands true, because no matter how hard you train in the gym, if you're not eating the right food, you won't look the way you want to be, whether it's on stage, on the beach, or just day to day. So, I have a lot of my clients that use Prep Perfect that are just like, overweight, middle-aged people that want to lose a bit of timber to come down, because for them people, they're still running a 9-to-5 life, and I think that's definitely the biggest move in the industry that's made much more achievable is these food companies. So if you want to use Prep Perfect, I recommend them.
Awesome. So we'll wrap that up.
Yeah.
And thanks for today.
Lovely.
Had a great training session with you.
Good. It's been really good to meet you.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.